Okay, thanks everyone for joining us. My name is Gordana Radonic. I am a community manager in front of Graphisoft, and I will be your host today. So today's topic is a very interesting topic that we're all excited about. It's about a very new special tool from Archicad 27, Design Options. And today on our agenda, we have with us Yasmin Herden, who is our professional services consultant, and she will give an overview of the design options workflow, how you can use the design option tool in different case scenarios. She will show also some functionalities of the tool, but some very nice examples for you today. Then we have Rubia Torres, who is our community specialist, and Rubia is one of the people behind Community Challenges, and she will tell you more details about the current community challenge, about your design options on Graphisoft Community, and all about the details, how you can join, participate, what are the rules, what is the duration, and how you can submit your submission and your case example. On a call with us today, we also have James Badcock from our product team, and we have Roland Sakac and Andras Fabian, who are from our product design team. They are part of the team who worked on developing and delivering design options tool. So now I invite Yasmin to and give her the microphone to present design options for you. Enjoy.
Thank you, Gordana. Well, let me take over and share my screen. Okay, there we go. So, well, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me during this webinar. I'm here to share a little bit of my knowledge about this new feature, design options from Archicad 27. And as Gordana mentioned, I'm going to start showing some workflows, workflow uses, and then some use cases with some practical examples. So let's start with just talking a little bit about design options. So, well, if you're an architect or designer, you probably encounter a situation where you wanted to develop more than one option or more than one different situation for a given project, for a given project you're working on. So now with Archicad 27, we have this dedicated feature that is designed specifically to tackle these types of situations. We had different techniques that people could use on previous versions. So, for example, using layers or renovation filters, or even using multiple files, one file for each design option. But now that we have the dedicated feature, we can actually in one file have multiple design options that we can compare, and we can choose which one is the best for that solution that we're trying to create. So as you can see, we can use this feature for many different situations. So from urban planning, conceptual models, facade designs, even interior designs, they can all be developed using this new tool. And the workflows that we're going to see on this first part, we're going to start with just a basic workflow, how to really get started with this feature, because it's a very complete feature. There's lots of ways we can incorporate it into our workflow. And then we're going into a little bit more of a complex workflow, which I'm calling it the combinations workflow. Once we get to it, I'll do a deep dive on what are all these names, combinations, terminologies that are involved into this feature. So I want to start just by showing a quick example. So what is a design option? As I said, is when we're trying to decide between two or more different solutions for a single project. So for example, here we have option one and option A and option B. And as you can see, these two solutions occupy the same space, space in the project, and the elements are not intersecting because the design option feature allows us to have all these different design options in the same space of the model without any interference. So let me jump to our first example, which is the basic workflow. So during this explanation here of the basic workflow, we're going to see what is the difference between the design options palette and the design options manager. What can we do with each and how we can use them during the workflow. Then we're going to see how to create new options, how to link elements to the options. And well, let's get into it then. So we're starting with this very basic model. So we have here this little house. And I developed for this house this first roof idea that I had, but now I have a different solution that I want to try. So let's use the design options feature to develop this. First thing I need to do is actually open the palette. It's going to where everything is going to happen for this workflow. So we can find the palette here and document, design options, and design options again. That opens the design options palette, which is a palette that you can keep it open on your Archicad file here on the side. It's going to assist you during the workflow, during designing. You don't have to close it. You can just keep it there and work with it and use it while you're working on your project. But now if I actually want to create new options, this is where the design options manager come into play. So here in the design options, we're going to see all the design options listed. But if I want new design options, if I want to create new design options, I need to use the manager. So you can open the manager from this button up here. And as you can see, we started this file from the template, from a blank file. So as you can see, we have no design options here just yet. Because this is a very flexible feature, and because design options can be much more project specific rather than template specific, we have no options just yet when we start the blank file. And this way we have the flexibility to create any option we want and to grow these options, create more options as we go along. So let's create a new option with the new button, and let's call it option A. And once I click OK in the manager, the option appears in the palette. So the manager is for managing options, creating new options, and organizing them around. And the palette stays there to help us visualize the different design options during the workflow. So now that I have the option A here, how do I put these elements actually in the design option? So I can do that very easily by selecting the elements and using the relink button down here in the palette. So the relink button is going to help us relink existing elements into options. So I first just select the element, select the option, and with the relink button, these elements are going to be moved to a design option. Archicad is giving us a little warning here saying that since this design option is inactive, the elements are going to disappear. So we click OK, and as you can see, now we don't see the elements anymore, and now they are placed in the in the option. A very important concept that I need to highlight here is the concept of the main model. So everything we have in the model, all the elements that are common to every option and all the elements that are the main model, they belong to this they belong to the main model, and the options they would be the separate parts where we can link elements to these options, and we only visualize these elements once the design options are activated, but the main model is always visible. So now if we want to visualize the option A, we can use this eye icon, just very similar to the layers. We can activate option A, and now the elements that belong to option A are visible again. Same thing if we want to include other elements, we can select the elements, select the option, relink, and now these elements belong to option A. Once I deactivate option A, they're gone. Once I activate, they're back. Something else that I like to highlight here is that elements belonging to options can interact with the main model. And still, when I deactivate the option, these interactions disappear. So as you can see, the roof here is cutting the wall, the windows are cutting the wall, and this wall belongs to the main model. But these elements can interact. I don't need necessarily to have this wall in option A. I can have this wall in the main model, and the elements can still interact. Once the option is deactivated, the interactions are gone. And now that I have option A, let's create option B. Again, we need to go to the Design Option Manager. And here we can do the same thing we did before and create a new option, or I can use the option to duplicate an existing one. So for example, if we select option A and choose to duplicate this option, Archicad is going to tell me that we're duplicating the option, and this is actually going to duplicate all the elements that are linked to this option. So that would be very useful if you're trying to avoid rework, if there are some elements that are that you want to take from one option to the other and then make adjustments to these elements. So this is a very good feature. We're going to use it now to duplicate option A and create option B. And once I click OK, the changes are visible in the palette. So the way the design options work is that all design options belonging to the same set, you can only visualize one of them at a time. And about design option sets, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next example. But for now, you can see that once we activate option B, option A is deactivated. So we only see one at a time. And the elements that were linked to option A, so in this case, the roof and the window elements, they were duplicated with the option. So these now are linked to option B, and they were duplicated when we duplicated the design option A. So let's start making some changes. First, let's change the roof to create design option B. So let's change to a different type here. Let's extend this. And as I mentioned before, we can use elements that are linked to design options to interact with elements that belong to the main model. And once again, once we deactivate option B, elements that belong to the main model are still the same as they used to be. And everything we saw right now was how to relink existing elements to design options. But how can I create new elements that belong to design options? So let's create a new window here to see how this works, because it's a little different from linking existing elements. And let's say we want to create a different window here that is specific to option B. So if I just keep modeling, choose my window and place it here, I just created a new element from scratch, but there was a little detail that I forgot to do. So once I change to a different option, you can see that there is just some element interception here, because what happened is that I created a new element, and this element belongs to the main model and not to specifically to option B. So that's why there's some element intersection here. So, but good news is that we can actually create new elements that are already linked to options. So let's delete this. And let's see how we can create new elements already belonging to options. So there is this concept here that is the default design option. So as you can see up here, right now, currently the default is the main model. So all the new elements that I create will automatically be linked to the main model and not to a specific option, even if this option is the one visible at this moment. But we can define specific design options to be the default. And it's very easy to do that here from the palette. So if you notice here, right beside the main model, we have this pencil icon. And this is something I really like about Archicad, is that all the icons have meaning. So they're not just there to show, they actually have a reason to be there. And this pencil icon here indicates that this is the current default. And if I double click a different option, you can see that the pencil now moved and it's right here beside option B. That means that now the default is option B. So all the new elements that I create right now will belong to this option. So we can go ahead and do that same window again. But since now the default is option B, this element now belongs to option B. If I go back to the main model, oh, sorry. If I, first thing also, once you're done creating your elements that belong to this option, a good practice would be to place the pencil back here on the main model. So create the default the main model again, so that you're not modeling elements in the incorrect option. But now once we deactivate option B, you can see that window belongs to option B. And if we activate option A, you can see that there is no overlap between the elements. So basic workflow, how we create options, what is the difference between the palette and the manager, and how we can visualize the different options. So you can see it's very easy to compare the different options from the palette. You just activate one, deactivate the other. And this is the workflow you can use. But if you want to complete this workflow, let's say that you actually compare these two options, you show them to the client, and you decided that you're actually going with option B. How can you complete the whole design option workflow and choose one option to be your, let's call it your final option? So we can do that by accepting this option as the final one and merging it into the main model. We can do that from the Design Options Manager. So let's open it again. And as you can see, we have down here this button called Accept and Merge. And once we select an option, the option that we want to merge into the main model, we can click this button. And Archicad is telling us again that this selected option is going to be merged into the main model. But note that all the other options that belong to the same set will be deleted. And then again, this word set, we're going to have a look at that in the following example. But for now, we click OK, and you're going to see that all the options disappear, and the option B is going to be merged into the main model. So no more design options. Once we click OK, no more design options. Everything we have right now is the main model. And these elements that once belonged to option B now belong to the main model. You can actually see which elements belong to each option, which option by checking this highlight here in the design options palette. Right now, we only have the main model, but if we had different options, you could see that once we select an element that belongs to a specific option, that option is highlighted in green. In this case, everything belongs to the main model, so main model is highlighted in green. Now that we saw a basic workflow, how to create options, how to use them, how to complete the workflow, let's go on to the next example, which we can see an example a little bit more complex of how to combine different options. And now we're going to see the difference between a design option set, and a design option combination. So these are three concepts that are extremely relevant when using the design options feature. And so it's crucial to understand what is the difference between what they represent in this whole workflow. So what is this combinations workflow that I'm talking about? So this is when we actually want to combine different options and see them at the same time. Because what we saw right now was that options could not be activated at once. We had to choose which option we want to see, but we actually can activate more than one option, but we need to understand sets to see that workflow. So on this example, we have this commercial floor where we have two options for the workspace area and two options for the meeting rooms. And of course, they're using different parts of the floor, so we want to be able to see them simultaneously. So let's go to the floor plan and let's open the palette again and document design options and design options. Okay, so here's the palette. And as I said, we now have an option A for the workspace, an option B for the workspace, an option A for the meeting rooms, an option B for the meeting rooms. And right now, I can't really activate them at the same time, but I can make an adjustment and create new sets so that they can be visualized at the same time. So let's go to the manager, and then I can explain the concept of sets, because we've been talking about this, and now I can actually show you what they do and what they're here for. So as you can see, this is the manager. We saw it before. Right here on the right side of the manager is where we have all the design options listed. And these design options can be grouped into sets. So as you can see right now, all the design options are grouped in the commercial floor set. And that means that I can only visualize one of these at a time. But if I create a separate set, I can activate one option from each set. So this way we can see design options simultaneously. So let's create a new set. This way we can separate the workspace options and the meeting room options, and then we can visualize one from each at the same time. We can do that here. Creating a new option set. Let's call it meeting rooms. And we can very easily just select and drag and drop these options into the new set. And this previous one, let's call it workspaces. This way we can very easily identify what each set is representing. So we have one set for the workspaces, one set for the meeting rooms. Let's click OK and see what they do now. So as I said, we have one set for workspaces, one set for meeting rooms. Now I can activate one option from workspace set and one option from the meeting room set. So this way we're combining these different options and we are visualizing more than one simultaneously at the same time here for this commercial floor. So if I want, as I said, I can create different alternatives. We can see option A with option A, or we can see option B with option A, and so on, all the multiple different combinations we can do with that. And yes, I'm talking about combining all these different design options, and that fits right into the next important thing about design options, which is actually the design options combinations. So what we saw so far is the design options themselves, so where we link the elements to create the different options. We saw the design options sets, which is how we combine the different options and group them together. And now we're going to see the combinations, which is very similar to layer combinations, for example, where you can choose what is the combination, the arrangement of which design options you want to see at a certain time. And then you can use these combinations to save views, just like layer combinations. So we can create them again in the design option manager. And there are two different ways of creating combinations. One is very simple, straightforward by clicking the new button and selecting which options you want to see with that combination. But we also have the option to click this save icon up here. And this save icon is going to save exactly what we have activated right now. So the current combination, which in this case, as you can see here, is workspace option B and meeting room option A. So let's create one combination with the save button. Can call it combination 1. And let's create a second one by using the new button just to see the difference. This way we can, this combination, we can call it combination 2. And since this one we created with the new button, now we have to select which options we want to see for this combination. Once I click OK, just like all the view-based settings, you can find them here, and you can switch between the different combinations. Combination 1, combination 2, and anyway, I could have created more for the different arrangements of the different options that we have here. So yes, this is a very good example to see how we can combine these different options. But I would also like to show with you some use cases of how to apply these all these concepts that we have from the design options into different examples and some different practical examples. So for example, we can use it with with interior design. So let's actually go to the model here so that's better to visualize, and let's open the palette again. And as you can see here, we have this interior design of this kitchen where we have this style of kitchen cabinets and countertops. And if the interior designer wanted to create a different design option for this, they could use the design options feature to propose a different idea, different interior design idea to their clients. And the last example I want to show is how to use this on a much larger scale compared to interior design, which is a urban concept. And on this example, I also want to quickly show that you can actually integrate design options with other existing features from Archicad. In this example, schedules. So let's take a look here. So for this example, we have two different design options for this urban concept, where we have here taller buildings with the smaller floor plan area, and we have shorter buildings, less floors, but with more floor area. And we can compare that between these two different options. We have the same, very similar overall area, but we have different areas for the floors. And we can very easily compare them because the design options feature is integrated, as I said, with existing Archicad features. So I think these were some of the examples that we could see how to use this feature with some different workflows, with some use cases, and actually how to get started with this feature. And I hope this was insightful and you could learn something. And I hope you're excited to try out design options and send your ideas to the challenge. So now let me hand the microphone back to Gordana.
Thank you, Yasmin, and thank you for a very interesting presentation. I think what we can also share with everyone is that we have the update training on Graphisoft Learn, Archicad 27 update training, where we explain design options in more detail, but also other new features from Archicad 27. So if you haven't tried Archicad 27 yet, or you tried it on your own, but you want to go thoroughly through everything that is new, then visit Graphisoft Learn and register for this training, and it will give you a very nice and detailed guidance through new version. And we already started the Graphisoft Community Challenge for your best design option, and we have a couple of interesting submissions. So I invite you to visit Graphisoft Community to check the gallery. You maybe get inspired, but I hope that Hubia will give you even more ideas and more insights on how to test design options and how to join our challenge. So Hubia.
Hello, thank you, Gordana. Hello, everyone. My name is Rubia Torres. I am a community specialist at Graphisoft. And today I would like to share with you the opportunity to participate in our Graphisoft Community Challenge. The challenge section is actually a contest area in the community. And the goal is that you can share your discoveries, some works that you are proud of in the gallery. And other users who see this material can interact with you, share their opinion. And ultimately, the goal is that other users can be inspired and improve their own workflows based on what you have created. So basically to level up and improve their own workflows. And I think this is a great opportunity if you are not yet using design options to get started with the tool and share what you have experimented with in the gallery. So it's really a free space for you to just share what you're trying out. It's very easy to participate. Once you are in the challenge page, you just need to go to the entries tab and upload your GIF. So I would suggest to upload a GIF, but you can share a video or a series of screenshots as you prefer. And if you are aiming for the prizes, then please also upload your Archicad PLA file. So what you are seeing now in the screen is the new entry page. And on top, you can put the title and add the picture. This is also fine to just participate in the challenge, but if you are interested in the prizes, then please also drag and drop your Archicad PLA file in the bottom part of the page. And of course, your PLA will not be shared with other community users. Of course, if you want to, you can make it available for download, share a link. But by default, it's not. It will be shared only with our jury members who will evaluate the entries. So for each challenge, we have a dedicated group of professionals that will evaluate your work. And yep. So also important to notice that if you want to submit several GIFs and experiments, you can do that. So you don't have to focus on just one best work that you have. It's really an interactive and free space for you to share what you are working on. And of course, the prizes are a good motivator as well. So we'll have a Lego Classic box. So the idea is that you can experiment at home with your design concepts. So really playful prize. We have Graphisoft Learn vouchers. So it's an opportunity for you to level up your skills by choosing courses from our catalog on Graphisoft Learn, and an exclusive roundtable with James Badcock, product manager, and Andres Fabian, product designer, who are also in this call and will be available now in the Q&A session. So it's, I think, the best prize from the list because you can share your feedback about the tool, ask further questions, get to know other users who were selected as well, share real examples from their practices. So it's really a rich opportunity. We are open to submissions until December 31st noon. And you can learn further details on the challenge in this link, or if you are on Graphisoft Community, go to Building Together and Challenges. So it's really easy to find it. Thank you.
Definitely join Graphisoft Community with any question and reach out to the team. I hope that with this presentation today, that we provided a good basis to start using design options if you haven't already. I would like to thank everyone for joining, for participating. We hope to see you participate in Graphisoft Community Challenge. And I would also like to invite you to join other sections on Graphisoft Community that we have. So as a little announcement is that soon we will start with monthly webinars on Graphisoft Community. So in December, there will be a new webinar presented by members of our Graphisoft community. So you will be able to hear Kare Horvat from Coty Parker from Australia talking about use of windows and doors, and particularly with schedules in Archicad. And every month, there will be a Graphisoft community member presenting some of the workflows on different topics, so it can be very insightful to exchange experience with other Archicad users and community members. Also visit our new AI visualizer group hub, where you can download the add-on, install it, and also participate in a forum discussion. This feature was also presented in the Building Together Learn. It's a new development from Graphisoft, so you can test it on your own, and you can also check out the gallery that we have in this dedicated group on Graphisoft Community, see some use cases, and also post anything if you're experimenting with this tool. So follow Graphisoft Community for news like this. Check out the next webinar to join. And thank you for the attention today. And we see you around. Have a nice day.